Mega Evolutions and Z-moves have been completely erased from Generation 8, and the Pokedex controversy regarding Pokemon Home is only getting bigger, as some fans are even saying they're boycotting Pokemon Sword and Shield. Plus, the nearly 100% accurate Pokemon leaker is back with more information on the games. What is going on? I'm here to break down all the Pokemon Sword and Shield news for you. Hey everyone, Razor Middle here, back with another Pokemon Sword and Shield news video, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about a new leak from a reliable source of the games who came out earlier with a nearly 100% accurate list of things to expect in the new game. After that, I'll be discussing the Galar Pokedex / Pokemon Home news that has some fans proclaiming that they are boycotting Pokemon Sword and Shield altogether. Then we'll talk about the latest breaking news about the new Pokemon revealed during the fan demo at E3 and how both Mega Evolutions and Z-moves are confirmed to be completely removed from Generation 8. Now with these leaks, I say nearly 100% because not everything mentioned in their post has been confirmed yet, but what is mentioned has come out to be 100% confirmed for the game. This isn't any ordinary leak because there's no way someone can make this many accurate guesses and not have some type of credibility. We see a lot of the time people come out with these quote-unquote leaks, which may have one or two things right, and people are sold on the fact that it's true. But this isn't like those because of the shockingly accurate things confirmed from this person. Real quickly, before I get started, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, share this video with any of your Pokemon pals, and most definitely leave me a comment below on what you think of this news. Now let's get back into this news as there's a lot to unpack. First, I want to give you a backdrop before we get into this latest leak to show you that this person has a lot of credibility with their information on Sword and Shield. Personally, I don't like watching or covering Pokemon videos based off rumors because they are just that, rumors. A leak, however, is something that gets confirmed prior to the release of official news. This leak did just that, as there's not just one or two things that ended up being true, there's nearly a dozen or so things confirmed, whether it be characters, Pokemon, or features in the game. This is the original leak from May 23rd, which was roughly 2 weeks or so before the Pokemon Direct on June 5th and the E3 demo on the 11th. Highlighted are some of the things that got confirmed, and what isn't highlighted are other things that haven't been confirmed yet, but I'll still cover them anyway due to the leaker's credibility. As you can see, character names and their relation to the main character, Pokemon names, and new features were announced. First, it talks about your rival, whose name is Hop, which we all know to be a fact. Interestingly enough, however, it talks about how we're getting two additional rivals named Beatty and Marnie. Personally, I love the idea of having multiple rivals, and I know it wasn't everyone's cup of tea in Kalos, but I actually like having different foes to face off against and seeing the character progression of each person. We get some information on the evil team, which is called Team Yell, and they are the gang in this game, who are well-meaning fans of Marnie causing trouble. This seems like it could be a possibility because the Pokemon Direct emphasized that Pokemon battles are the biggest attraction in the Galar region, so it only seems fitting that the evil team plays a role in that. Continuing on with more information on the gyms, to become a part of the gym challenge, you will need to get some endorsements. For example, Beatty gets an endorsement from Chairman Rose and his secretary Olena. Now onto the legendaries. Eternatus is the evil legendary, and the other legendaries will be a wolf who will either have a shield mane or be holding a sword. Now part of this was confirmed in the Pokemon Direct, where we got to see the new legendaries in the box art. The shield mane and wolf holding a sword are spot on leaks, and we did get a teaser in the trailer where Zacian and Zamazenta turn their backs to each other to fight some unseen Pokemon, which could be Eternatus. Dynamaxing and Gigantamaxing are their new dynamics that will supersize Pokemon in specific areas. Gigantamaxing is different from Dynamax as it changes what the Pokemon looks like. Meowth looks like a long cat, Lapras gets layers like musical bars with shells and musical notes, and Pikachu looks like its retro version. So it looks like with Mega Evolutions and Z-moves being removed, which I'll talk more about later, these two new features will be their replacements. I was honestly expecting a new game feature to be introduced like they do for every new generation, and I do like the concept of them giving us a fan service by doing Dynamaxing for more intense battles and Gigantamaxing for fans who like seeing form changes. Sonia is Leon's former rival who is researching the phenomenon of Dynamax at the guidance of her grandmother, who is also the professor of the Galar region. Here's an example right here of how they got very important characters' names and roles correct, which really helps solidify this person's credibility, but there's still even more in this leak that will blow your mind. Some Pokemon like Farfetch will get regional evolutions like Sirfetch, and Meowth looks like a ball of spiky gray fur. So here I'm a little confused because I understand the part about Pokemon getting new evolutions like Farfetch, but what's confusing is the Meowth part because Meowth evolves into Persian, so I don't really know what they mean there, but it'll be interesting to see what's in store. Squovet and Greedent are chipmunk Pokemon who will hide in berry trees and attack randomly if you shake for too many berries. So here, while we didn't get any official announcement on these Pokemon, if you look closely in the Pokemon Direct trailer, you actually are able to see this chipmunk Pokemon tease, which is super cool. Then at the E3 demo, we actually got confirmation that shaking berry trees will return from Generation 7. Now the next bit of information is mind-blowing now that we've got confirmation that some of these things are actually 100% real. First, the 4th gym is a fairy-type gym led by an actress named Opal. Milo, Nessa, and Kabu are the first ones. So here we learn 2 names of gym leaders that we actually already got confirmation for too. We know that Milo is indeed the grass-type gym leader and Nessa is the water-type gym leader. The leak continues on with more gym information, which kinda infers that GameFreak is going to keep some aspects of the trials while mixing in the Pokemon gyms at the same time. These are called gym challenges, and Milo has you herding sheep Pokemon named Wooloo, but Pamper, aka Yamper, they must have misspelled that, who is an electric corgi Pokemon, will startle them and send them rolling elsewhere. Nessa has you running through a maze where water blocks the way, and Kabu requires you to catch a Pokemon to get 5 points, but you have to be in a party battle with another trainer who's also trying to catch it. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here, but let's start with how the leaker did correctly give us the information on Wooloo and Yamper. I know they type Pamper, but it is a 1-letter difference, and the fact that it is indeed an electric corgi Pokemon like they said, I'll assume it was just a typo. We did see in the trailer that Wooloo does roll around, which is super cute, but in summary of all this news, it looks like each gym requires a task from you before you're allowed to enter. The next part isn't the second leak that I was talking about, we'll get to that later, but they did continue here with more news on May 23rd. It states that there's a transit system, which we already know is confirmed, and you will have to go through the wild area at times, which is an open world area with a weather system and little pockets where wild Pokemon Dynamax appear with 4-person raids. You will randomly see nearby players and interact with them to get their league cards and items. So to summarize all of this, it correctly leaks so many confirmed features such as Dynamaxing, raid battles, the wild area, and the transit system. Now they talk about camping and how it's the equivalent to what Pokemon Meet and Refresh was in past generations. We get to see a tiny bit of camping with Sobble in front of a camping tent, so that's another thing with confirmation. Pokemon will not walk beside you in the overworld. We kinda had this confirmed already when we didn't see any Pokemon following us in any trailers or the wild area. Pokemon only seem to be in the overworld at the wild area while wild battles return elsewhere. Lastly, I'll talk about the starter Pokemon. I think the next part is a typo also, and I think they meant to say Scorbunny stays pure fire, not pure fighting. We always have fire, grass, and water starters, so it doesn't make sense for it to be pure fighting. I think they meant it looks like a fighter and a humanoid, but remains a pure fire. Next, we get to Sobble, who will evolve into Salizzle, and then Inteleon, a chameleon with a spy theme. I like the cool James Bond theme they're trying to go for with Sobble, and that was rumored a while back, but this leak actually somewhat confirms it. Lastly, Grookey will end up as a giant gorilla that beats a wood drum to attack. And the final thing of this leak from May 23rd is that the leaker claims that the best Pokemon is a blue seagull, who when it dives either gets a Barracuda in its mouth or a Pikachu which it launches at its enemy. Personally, I think that's such a cool idea, and I hope it's true. Now let's finally move on to the latest leak from this person, which dropped a day after the Pokemon Direct. I just want to state really quickly, while that prior leak does have many confirmed aspects, this is from an anonymous posting board, so this second leak could not be the same person. But they do have the same profile picture, and it's from the same form, so we'd be wise to look at it anyways due to this person's credibility. First, it starts off by telling us which Pokemon will be getting Gigantamaxing forms. This list includes popular fan favorites such as the Tapu legendaries Charizard, Flygon, Tyranitar, Hydreigon, and Volcarona. Meltan will evolve in the game by leveling up in a Dynamax battle. And additional information on Rotom is provided, as we know it's been confirmed that Rotom will serve as some type of guidance system much like Rotom Pokedex in Generation 7. Next it says after becoming champion, the player will meet their manager named Alan, who helps you with getting sponsorships, hosting tournaments, and creating advertisements and posters that can be seen around Galar. During these missions you can earn money, unlock new outfits, new TMs, and access additional locations of the wild area. This coincides with the previous leak where it shared players will need to get sponsorships in order to battle gyms, so this makes a lot of sense. The biggest news, however, I think from this leak is that there will be 98 new Pokemon including form changes. A lot of people, including myself, were dying to know how many new Pokemon we'd be getting in Galar, and it seems like allegedly we have our official count. The leak talks more about raid battles and how GameFreak plans on doing monthly raids alongside with retailers, who I'm assuming is like GameStop or other popular retail chains. And the first raid is a Torterra raid to coincide with the Detective Pikachu movie. We get to learn more about the evil team next, which states that Leon is actually Team Yell's anonymous leader. He uses his social media power and fandom to target and damage trainers' reception so that they lose sponsorships in order to remain an unchallenged champion from trainers he thinks could beat him. He thinks Sonia purposely let him win their match years ago and feels weak. He captures the other version's legendary in order to feel more powerful despite leaving Galar unprotected by the third evil legendary, Eternatus. Eternatus has the power to control minds of Pokemon and Gigantamaxing and Dynamaxing them into raid Pokemon. It's the first outright evil Pokemon and can only be caught via Dynamaxing. In order to use Eternatus, you will need to purify the evil by befriending, playing, and petting it at camp. So let me break all that down more because that was a ton of information. First of all, this leak reiterated that Team Yell is the evil team of this game, which was mentioned previously in the person's first leak. I do love the fleshed out backstory of Leon and how it led to him becoming the unanimous leader of Team Yell. Also, this leak reiterated that Eternatus is the third legendary of the game, which we learned from the first leak but had yet to get confirmation. I also like the idea of a downright evil Pokemon, so that's cool. But that will finish off the 2 leaks from this anonymous poster that we will be covering today. Now let's move on to some controversy that has a lot of Pokemon fans majorly upset. At E3, Junichi Masuda revealed that Pokemon Home, which is the new version of Pokemon Bank, will only have compatibility with Sword and Shield Pokemon with Pokemon who appear in the Galar Pokedex. You can still transfer Pokemon from various outlets to your Pokemon Home cloud service, but only Pokemon who can appear in Galar can go from Pokemon Home to Pokemon Sword and Shield. So if you didn't get that, this basically means that not all 800 plus Pokemon will be playable in Sword and Shield. GameFreak is deciding which Pokemon should appear in the games based off the features in Galar, and then Pokemon who didn't make the cut will not be appearing in Sword and Shield at all. This isn't to say that the Pokemon won't be appearing in Generation 8 at all, as it's completely possible for the missing Pokemon to appear in the inevitable Sword and Shield sequel or the Diamond and Pearl remake. If you want my personal opinion on this, I will say that I'm upset that not all Pokemon will appear in the game, but I'm not mad about it enough to send a bunch of angry tweets to the game developers like some people have been doing. I recommend that if you're upset about this decision, don't send any hate to the game developers, as they've been working hard to give us a fantastic game. As we're nearing 1,000 Pokemon, this was an inevitable change. Hashtag Bring Back the National Dex was trending after this announcement, and it got quite the following too. Many memes surfaced of things such as gotta catch some of them all instead of Pokemon's motto, gotta catch them all. Also, Junichi Masuda spoke out after all this drama by saying that, quote, there is currently no decision to bring the existing Pokemon that can't be in Sword and Shield back into the game using patches. This has given fans some hope that there may be some DLC to include more Pokemon with new updates. Personally, I think it would have been nice if this game was like Alola, where there was a limited dex, but you could still transfer Pokemon in, they just wouldn't appear in the Pokedex. But I'll survive, and so will all of you, so if you're a fan considering skipping these games, don't be upset, and just enjoy these amazing games coming to us for what they are. So this next bit of news is actually the introduction of 2 new Pokemon which was seen at the E3 demo event. Yamper is the electric corgi Pokemon that we talked about earlier, and Impidimp is a very unique Pokemon with a Dark Fairy dual type that we saw in the demo as well. These 2 Pokemon look amazing, and without a doubt are on my radar of Pokemon I'm considering bringing along with me on my journey in Galar. People, however, looked at their stats in the game and saw that they were considerably low for such a high-leveled Pokemon. And while this may be just a way that the demo was programmed, this led fans to believe that they may get evolutions. I personally think Yamper looks fully evolved, but if it's holding an Everstone, it makes me think it'll evolve later. Impidimp, on the other hand, totally looks like a first stage Pokemon, so I totally think it'll evolve into something crazy cool. And the last part of our news video is actually a breaking news story, as Junichi Masuda just confirmed that Mega Evolutions and Z-moves will not be present in Pokemon Sword and Shield. As a reminder, Mega Evolution was introduced back in Generation 6, and Z-moves were introduced back in Generation 7, but it seems like GameFreak is breaking with their trend of bringing these features into newer games and completely getting rid of them. We don't know much about how this decision was made, but we can assume that it's similar to that of the Pokedex controversy, where some Pokemon were sacrificed in order to get the best quality game possible. This decision, however, doesn't have fans as mad as the Pokedex dilemma, as Z-moves weren't necessarily the most popular thing ever created, and I myself had zero interest in them anyways. I'm a little sad about no Mega Evolutions, but I'll survive. And now you're caught up on the Pokemon news from the past few weeks. There was a lot to go through today, so I appreciate you watching. Be sure you leave a like, subscribe, comment, and share. But until next time, friends, I'm Razor Middle, and I'll see you later for alligators.